All right, everybody, what is going on? Good evening. Hope you guys are doing well. And today was the final day of on field work for the combine outside of the bench press. We'll get a little bit more bench press data tomorrow, but today was the final day in terms of the 40-yard dash, the 10-yard split, et cetera, et cetera. So we have almost all the information we need. And today was all about the offensive linemen, so we're just going to go ahead and take a look and see what those guys did. And then probably sometime tomorrow, we'll do a wrap up where we take a look at some of the bench press data, see if we can learn anything from that. But yeah, it was a pretty successful day overall. A lot of good movers, although it is worth noting that a lot of the players that know that they will not be able to do well at these events do not do them because it can only hurt them. So let's dive in with some of the guys who did perform today. And a lot of guys, I think, did themselves at least some degree of favors with their performance, like Spencer Fano. Now, Spencer Fano, not necessarily interesting to the Seahawks because he's going to go too high. And this is actually a little bit interesting here because arm length, not exactly what you're looking for here, right? 32 and an eighth, that's a little bit on the shorter side for a tackle, but incredibly athletic, 4.91, 1.72 10-yard split, and those are both very good marks for a lineman. Vert and Broad were okay. Three cone and the 20-yard shuttle were pretty decent as well. So overall, it is a good performance for him. He proved that he is one of the most athletic tackles in this draft, but at the same time, I wonder if there are going to be questions about his ability to play tackle with well, not sub, but just barely above 32-inch arms. Going to be an interesting debate, kind of like not quite Will Campbell level, but I think there will be similar discussions with Fano. So he overall did well today, although I do wonder if there are going to be some conversations about where he plays in the NFL. Here's a guy though who did a lot of favors for himself today, Max Ainch Akor. And I mean, I did my best with that last name. I freely admit I definitely butchered it, but this guy's got size. This guy's got arm length. He's a 320-pound tackle with almost 34-inch arms, and he is the most athletic tackle in this combine according to NFL.com. 4.91, 1.73, phenomenal marks. Now, the vert and the broad are not elite, but they're still pretty good. 30 and a half inches works. 9'7" is actually one of the better broads that we had today. So this guy can move, and he's got the size and length to play on the outside. Pretty strong. Monroe Freeling did fairly well for himself today, and he's a guy who's kind of flirting with the first round. He's a guy who could go late in the first. 6'7", so he's tall. He's got good size. He's got long arms, almost 35-inch arms. That'll do it. Very athletic as well. Ran a 4.93, 171. 171 is eye-popping. Vert was one of the best. Broad was really good too. So great athlete. And he's got the size. He may be bumping up. These tackles, it's not the greatest tackle class in the world. Freeling might bump up to the teens for all we know. This was a really good performance for him, in my opinion. So I'm liking what I see there. Caleb Lomu of Utah, the other Utah tackle, I think did well for himself. Good size, good arm length, 33, and well, just under 33 and a half. 4.99, so sub 5, not as good as some of the other guys, but still very good. 1.74 10-yard split is great. And for offensive linemen, probably more important anyway. And the vert and the broad are good too. So he's a really good athlete, another one of these athletic tackles, and clearly he's going to be able to play at tackle. And keep in mind, as we go through these guys, I know we're not necessarily looking for tackles, but what this team may be looking for on the interior are tackles that can slide inside to guard. So when you see something like this, you should take note of it, even though it's unlikely this team covets them as a tackle. Emil Wagner of Notre Dame, he came in fairly well, 34.5-inch arms, nice long pythons there. Pretty good size, could maybe add a little bit of weight, but pretty good athlete as well. Ran a sub 1.8 10-yard split, 5.01 40. Vert and Broad were kind of disappointing, but overall, decent enough athlete, and I think the arm length will take him home here. I think Blake Miller had a really good day as well, over 34-inch arms, big size, 6'7", 317 pounds, and he combined all that with a 1.75 split. 504 isn't amazing, but it's okay. Vert was good. Broad was good. Could have been a little bit better, but overall, this is still a good athlete. Going to fit in well at right tackle in a move scheme where you need your offensive lineman to play on the move. So Blake Miller, also good. Caleb Tiernan of Northwestern. Big dude, one of the bigger tackles in this class, 6'8", 323 pounds. Arm length is okay. You wish it was a little bit better, 32 and a quarter. That's a little bit dicey. And he's got the explosiveness, right? The vert was really good. The broad was okay. But a 36-inch vert almost is going to get some attention here. So this one's going to be kind of interesting. I wonder if this is going to be one of the guys that ends up playing guard. This could end up being a guy who slides inside. And if so, maybe worth paying attention to. So I've had my eye on him since before the season started, and I wonder if he'll slide inside. We got a very interesting guy with Dunker here, Gennings Dunker. And I call him interesting because I know a lot of Seahawks fans are pretty plugged in on him. Dunker, 6'5", 319 pounds, so good size. The arm length is the thing that's interesting with him because a lot of people think Dunker's going to play guard in the NFL. I'm not so sure I agree with that with 33.5-inch arms. I think that's sufficient to play tackle. And when you combine that with him being, at the very least, an okay athlete, not elite, he didn't run a great 40. 10-yard split isn't terrible, though. The vert and the broad, the vert's good. The broad could have been a little bit better. 20-yard shuttle, actually pretty good for an offensive lineman for 6'3". I mean, I look at Dunker, and I'm not 100% sure which way this goes. If he's viewed as a guard, then that's very intriguing because I do think this guy could slide inside and be very good. But I look at these scores and I'm getting mixed signals. I don't know. Is he going to be a guard? Is he going to be a tackle? And if he's going to be a guard, what guard is he going to be? So Gennings Dunker, worth monitoring as we go through this process. Jalen Farmer, another guard here. So we have segued into like the guards that I thought did well today. Jalen Farmer of Kentucky. He's going to be a very interesting guy to talk about in the coming weeks. Good size, long arms. So I guess you can't completely count him out for playing tackle. And he's a really good athlete, like much better than Dunker. 4'9", 175, 10-yard split. Yeah, his vert and his broad are kind of bad, but he's quick. He's just not very explosive. And he's got the long arms. It almost makes me wonder if he will be a tackle at the NFL level. Remember, generally speaking, tackles get paid more than guards. If an NFL player has the opportunity to be a tackle over a guard, they're probably going to take it. DJ Campbell, this is a guy who was very hyped coming into the season, and then he kind of faded away as the year went on, but he had some pretty good results here from Texas. 6'3", 313 pounds, so he's kind of short, which you like for an interior lineman. Long arms, too, for a guy who's going to play on the inside, I think. 34 and a quarter, impressive. And his athleticism scores in terms of speed are comparable to a good tackle. 501, 176, 10-yard split. Now, the vert and the broad are really poor, so not very explosive. Not a lot of energy coming out of the hips, but I do think that there's going to be a little bit of a push here for Campbell to go back up the boards a little bit after today. We got Chase Bisontis of Texas A&M. He's an intriguing candidate. I haven't really looked at him too much during this season because I know he's a left guard, but he does have the arms of a guard, but he's well-sized overall, and he's a good athlete for a guy who's going to play on the inside. A 32-inch vert is totally fine for a guard. 5'0", 240, 176, 10-yard split. 3-cone, 20-yard shuttle, not great, but good. I think this guy's going to be a good prospect. I think he did himself at least a little bit of a favor today. Also doing himself a little bit of a favor today, I think, was Rutledge. Maybe you could say you wish he was a little bit heavier, but again, remember, a lot of these offenses, including ours, are looking for guards that can play on the move, and Rutledge, 6'4", 316, 33 and a quarter inch arms, that's kind of the mold. And for a guy of that size, what an athlete. 5'0", 540, 181, 10-yard split for a guard that is very good. Big vert, not a great broad. 8', 8-inch broad is not really all that great. 3-cone is pretty decent. 20-yard shuttle, though, 4.54 for a guy who's 316 pounds. I'm paying attention to that. So Rutledge, very athletic for an interior lineman, especially a guy who's probably going to be a right guard. This is, I think, a guy to monitor heavily as we move through this offseason. Emmanuel Pregnon of Oregon, mixed bag for him today. Pretty good size, good arm length, big hands, monster hands. Moved very slow. He's a slug, and that is a little bit concerning if you're trying to put him in an outside zone scheme. 182, 521. The vert and the broad, though, were quite good. The vert especially. 35 inches for this dude. Notable. So, Pregnon, mixed bag. I like some of it, but there's definitely some stuff here that should give you pause. Not much of a mover. Logan Jones, center. We're moving on to center now. Logan Jones, definitely pay attention to this one. Another Iowa offensive lineman, about typical size for a center, a little bit undersized. He's got short arms, so you know he's going to be a center, but 4.9 flat. That's attention getting right there. 4.9 flat, 175, 32-inch vert, 9-foot 2-inch broad. Those are both fine, not great. 3-cone and 20-yard shuttle. I mean, the 20-yard shuttle's good. The 3-cone could have done a little bit better than that, I guess, but this guy can fly. This is a guy who can fly at 300 pounds. I think he's going to be a good player in the NFL. And if you have a move scheme like the Seahawks do, he's a good fit. Now, we don't really necessarily need a center right now, but this guy's a fit. I'm telling you, I like him. Jaeger Burton of Kentucky, another center that I think did himself some pretty good favors today. 6'4", 312 pounds, so he's a little bit bigger than Logan Jones. Arms are not too short. Maybe he could play guard. I don't know. It's hard to know sometimes. But another really good athlete. 4'9'4", 176. Almost as good as Logan Jones. Now, the vert and the broad could have been better. Broad's okay. Vert definitely disappointing at 28 inches. But yeah, I don't mind this one at all. And this is going to be another guy who's relatively coveted because it's not a great center class. Although most years it isn't, in fairness. There aren't that many centers out there. But he did well today. Also got to give a shout out to Parker Braillesford, former Husky, current or was before this draft, Crimson Tide. Undersized, admittedly, only 290 pounds, but for a move center, you can get away with that. And I think he did overall well enough. 4.95, 1.7 flat. That's kind of that's got to get your attention. Like that could be like a Jason Kelsey type situation here. 32.5 inches on the vert, really good. 9-foot 10-inch broad's great, so very explosive. 4.7, 220-yard shuttle. So this guy can move. And you run the right kind of offensive scheme, you're going to get good stuff out of Braillesford. So good stuff there. And Sam Hecht of Kansas State, Kansas State, has the frame of a center, general look of a center. And his was a little bit more mixed. There was some good stuff here. The 5'1" is not very good. You wish it was a little bit better when he's only 300 pounds, but the 10-yard split's good. And again, the 10-yard split is what we really care about. Now, the explosive scores are weak. 28 inches on the vert, 8-foot 5-inch broad. That's not very good. 3-cone, 20-yard shuttle, okay. So, a little bit of a mixed bag here, but that 10-yard split, I think, is going to get some positive attention here. So, mixed bag for Sam Hecht. Not super athletic, but quick. And maybe that'll be enough. All right, some guys I would be a little bit concerned about after today. Carver Willis, a tackle from Washington, of course. A little bit on the smaller side. Not that that's a big problem, but kind of short arms, 32.5 inches. That's on the line where you start getting a little bit worried, but for a guy who's not very big, he's not moving. 5'11", 40, 184 10-yard split's pretty rough. And the vert and the broad were just nothing. He did not jump very well today. So not much of an athlete for a guy who's not really even that big. So this might be a guy who slides inside. And even then, I don't know how appealing he is. Armaj Reed Adams, another one of these right tackle guys. This is the Aggie. And look, he's got the size. He's got the arm length. He's got crazy long arms for an interior lineman. But another guy who can't really move. 5'2", 185 10-yard split. Didn't jump all that well. The broad was okay. And he almost took 8 seconds on the 3-cone, which is, I mean, he's a bigger guy. I get it. But it's still not really what you're looking for here. So not great. Not thrilled with that. And then you've got Fabichi Nawaiwu of Oklahoma. Again, another guy with good size. And look, he's on the interior. It's not the end of the world, but can't jump over a phone book. Can't jump over a phone book. 3-cone, 7.8, not very good. 4.7 320-yard shuttles, okay, I guess, but mixed bag here, not crazy impressed. Okay, I think that'll do it for today, and that'll basically do it for the combine. I'll do a wrap up tomorrow to talk about bench press stuff because for some of the positions, bench press matters, although for others it really doesn't. But um, those are the guys who stood out to me today, and I think that we have a pretty good base to make evaluations on now. So excited to swing into the next couple of at least a month, maybe a little bit more of talking about draft prospects. So stay tuned. We will be going hard in the paint starting tomorrow. Everyone have a good rest of your night. Go Hawks. And let me know what you guys thought of the combine. Let me know what you're coming away with here. That is my roundup. See you guys soon.